Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you want to know how many customers are interacting with your business on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, then stick around for this tutorial where we will be recreating the analysis behind me in MySQL. So behind me you can see we have DAU, daily active users, the customers that are interacting with your business on a daily basis. We have weekly active users, wow, and then we also have monthly active users. And we're combining it all into one convenient chart. So let's go over to MySQL and I'll show you how to do it. So first we need to start with a table of dates. Again, if you don't have one of these, I would highly recommend that you buy your data engineer lunch and that they put or create a table of dates for you in your data warehouse. Super useful. So what we are effectively going to do is for each date in this date table, we are going to count the number of users on that date for DAU, count the number of users on that date in the previous 6 dates for a trailing 7 or for a WAU, wow, and then do the same thing but for a trailing 30 for MAU. So I'll show you how to do this now with a join and an aggregate. So our primary table is going to be this date table, and then we're also going to use a player login table. And this just has every customer and their login date. So we can call the date table dates. We're going to do a left join over to our logins table. We can call it logins on. So the logins.login date has to be less than or equal to the dates.date. And the logins.login date has to be greater than date add has to be greater than 30 days prior to the date in the date table. So I will explain this. So we're calculating 3 metrics. DAU, so count of customer interactions on that day. WAU, WAU, so over the trailing 7 days. And then MAU, so over the trailing 30 days. So when we do our join and start aggregating and doing a count distinct of customers between those intervals, we want to pick the broadest date interval, and in this situation it's MAU, so 30 days. So to explain this join more fully, we're saying we have this table 1 with a column of dates, and what we want to do is we want to bring across dates that are less than or equal to that date and greater than that date minus 30. So that we can go back a full trailing 30 days. But we're going to write some case statements above this so that we can aggregate and do a count distinct of customers for that specific day for trailing 7 and then for trailing 30 for MAU. So let's do that now. So we want dates.date. And now for our first case statement, so case when this login date is literally equal to our date, or the date value in question, then we're going to do a count distinct on the customer ID. We're going to count distinct of customers that logged in on that particular day, which would represent DAU. So this is DAU right here. And let's check it. So when the login date from table 2 is equal to our date in table 1, then do a count distinct of customer IDs or customers. If not, do a count distinct on null, which will always result to 0. So this is going to be DAU. Cool. So now we're going to have a little more fun, and we're going to do a count distinct over that date and the trailing 6 dates for a total of a trailing 7 date figure, which represents WoW, or weekly active users. So we will do case when this login date is greater than this minus 7. Right, so what this is doing is it's saying, let's do a count distinct where it's less than or equal to this date, right? But greater than that date minus 7. So bringing in that date and a trailing 6 for a full trailing 7, but adding this historical cap here so that we only go back basically 7 dates to calculate WoW. We'll call this WoW. And then for the very last one, this is MAU. And you would actually think that we would follow this same logic, and instead of -7, we would do -30. But because our join is bringing across 30 dates, so date of and then the trailing 29 for a trailing 30, all we have to do is very simply just do a count distinct of the customers from table 2. This is super convenient. So let's add a group by. And then there's one more thing. There might be a situation where you're trying to do a count of customers over a trailing period, but there's not enough trailing data. So for example, I believe the first date in this dataset is September 2022. So if you try to go back a trailing 30 days from that date, there won't be any data. So to account for that, let's just only take records or dates where we have a full trailing 30 days so that we can fully calculate all of these metrics and not have any missing data. So we will do this. We're going to do a count distinct of dates, login dates that we're bringing in from table 2, and making sure that's equal to 30. Let's add a semicolon. Okay, this is ready to be run. Okay, so let's move this over to Excel now. Alright, so here is our data. So DAU is a count of customers interacting with your product or business that day. WAU is a count of unique customers that have interacted with your business over the last week. And then MAU or MAU is the last month. So DAU, WOW, MAU. Okay. Let's grab the last few months just to not overwhelm ourselves. Okay, well, let's grab DAU. Okay, let's create our chart. And let's make this a dual axis. So we're gonna make DAU an area chart and put WOW and MAU on another axis. Okay. Let me clean this up just a little bit so we can look at it. And here we go. So this is actually a pretty useful analysis because, as you know, with your customers, they're not going to be interacting with your business every single day or DAU. They're going to have some sort of rhythm. They're going to log in several times a week or a month or something like that. So you want to know, how big is my audience size, or what is the scope of my audience? So with this analysis and with this demo business, it's pretty clear. You've got about 1,200 customers that interact with your business daily. You've got about 3,500 that interact weekly and about 8,000 monthly. So this is pretty useful, and I'm glad I got to do this walkthrough with you. If you like this content, please continue to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.